we've got two great pieces today I'm going to showcase for you guys. We've got the Zero Mercy Pearl and the Zero Mercy Solid. So I'm going to do a little comparison of these two. We've got one piece that's going to be a lot earlier, dig through the fronts, and a piece that's going to be a bit cleaner and read the back end. So we've got two different ends of the spectrum here. The numbers on these are about the same. We've got just a little bit of a cover difference. I throw 14 pounds, so the RG on this is going to be 2.54 with a 0.053 diff and a 0.020 intermediate diff on that. And then with that solid, it's going to be the HK22 C2 solid, and then the pearl is going to be that same cover, just the pearl. So that Zero Mercy solid is going to be really good for when there's a lot of heavy oil on the lanes, and that pearl is going to be good when we need some excessive back end, as they're calling it. So let's get out there and let's throw that solid first and see how it does. All right, so we've got this solid up here first. I'm going to do my usual thing, stand somewhere around the big dot and kind of aim for around second arrow. That looks pretty good. Ooh. All right, so that read a little bit later than what I was expecting, but I got it right into that oil. So I'm gonna bump just a smidge left and see if we can get out that 7-pin. So the shape on these ASIMs, they're gonna be a bit smoother than some of the other ASIMs that I have. Just the numbers on these, that 2.5 RG. So let's bump just a smidge left on that, not too much. Maybe slow down just a tad. That looks a lot better. Thanks for watching. No, I'm just kidding, we're not done yet. So what I like to test with these solid balls is how far left I can be, how far right I can be, and where my out of bounds are with those. So obviously we got a little bit of a benchmark zone there where I can put it right around up 10 with some, mild rotation, nothing too crazy. But let's see what happens if I were to stand in that same spot and let's say just rotate a little bit more. Let's see if it gets down lane just a smidge. Woo! Almost left a 10-pin there, but it finished a lot more on that back end when I got around it. Got it into the friction a little bit more, but it still wanted to take off. But still, it's not going to be as late and as hard of a finish down lane as the pearl would be. All right, so with that same kind of rotation, I'm going to move right a little bit since we almost went high and actually 10-pin. So I'm going to move, let's do like a 3 and 2 and still get around this one. Leaked that really far left. Wow. So I got that one way too far left. Not the most accurate person in the world when it comes to trying to shape the ball, but that's okay. I prefer to be up the back of it. But with the skills that I've got in that shot, it obviously cleared through the fronts, had some energy left on the back end, and still drove through those pins really hard. So let's throw one more from that area. And again, I'm going to try to keep it a little bit further inside and actually hit my target. There we go. And it just didn't have that finish that it needed. That's kind of the shot that I was really looking to show, was that it just tries to read in the fronts and it doesn't have enough energy left in the back end to make that finish. So let's stay there and actually jump over to the pearl and see what happens from that zone. All right, so we got the pearl here, and I'm going to try to strike from that zone. So I'm standing about 20 right now. Again, just being a little bit harder with the rotation, trying to get around it just a little bit more than I typically would. So let's stand here on that 20 spot and see what happens from that zone where we bucketed. Almost got the 7 out, but that had much more finish. It actually made it to the head pin and actually drove through the pins a little bit. So I could probably slow down my ball speed from there and see if that'll shape. Now, the other way to get the ball to shape is, to increase my rev rate, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. So again, using the skills I'm equipped with, we're gonna just make a little move to slow down because that's about what I got to work with. Woo! Okay, missed wide of my target there, but that ball made the corner. It made the shape down lane. It's got that very extreme back end that they're talking about. So let's see what happens if I moved left with this one. Obviously, it's not going to read very early. I can probably get a little bit further left and stay behind it. So let's go to that zone there. Now, this is my typical shot. If you couldn't tell, I throw it with my left hand. You should have been watching to this point which hand I throw it with. If you're here for watching anything else, unsubscribe. Actually, just kidding, subscribe. But let's jump over here to the left. I'm gonna move about 3 boards there. Let's just stay behind it and throw kind of a normal shot for me. Beautiful. Gets that 7 out. I can stay behind it and keep it controlled, but still make sure that it finishes. I really am liking what I'm seeing from this Pearl. So we haven't really played in that zone with the solid, but it's gonna pick up really soon, but I wanna be able to show you that. So let's make a switch here and go to our solid and play in that zone. Obviously, it's gonna pick up pretty early. I'm on basically a house shot. So there's not a whole lot of oil out here, but there should be enough that we can kind of play around with that. So let's see where in the fronts this really picks up. Oh my. Ha. Pretty lucky. I strike every time, clearly. No edits needed. But that one picked up a lot sooner. I almost 8-pinned, actually almost 6-8'd on that. So it picked it up a lot sooner. So we have the 2 differences there. So make sure you guys check out these releases when they come out this November. We've got that Zero Mercy Solid and Pearl, whichever one would be best for you, whether you like to play them a little bit straighter and early friction or have that big hook down lane. But we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.